Hello, my name is Jacob Folger, and I'm an artist sculptor, and today we're going to make a dragon to go on top of the computer. And what I'm doing here is I'm just measuring to see where I want the dragon to sit, and I just don't want it to obscure too much of the screen, so I'm just measuring it. I think the dragon's going to be about 5 inches wide or so, and so I have a 2x4 here. I'm going to measure over, and you know what, my 2x4 is actually about 5 inches long, so that's great. And I have a Sharpie here. I'm going to measure down 1 inch because the border for the computer is about 1 inch wide. So now I know where the computer is, the screen is and all that. If I take my finger like this, kind of like a guide on the side of the 2x4, I can measure a straight line. Pretty neat, huh? And do it again on this side. Almost straight. So this is the border of the computer here, and if the dragon comes a little bit down below that, that's fine for me. But you just want to make sure of that. Okay, we're going to get started. Now we're going to be working with polymer clay here. So we want to make sure we knead it really good, and that also conditions it. It gets all the ingredients mixed up in the clay so that it sculpts well and bakes well. And the reason why I'm using the color black is because the finishes I do really pop on the black color. So first I want to get a ball that's about the size that I want to use. I want to shape it into a ball like this, and then I'm going to roll it on the table. Shaping it into a ball and getting it into a ball shape is a good idea before you start. It's kind of the starting point. There we go. And what I want to do is I want to concentrate on the right side here, because this is going to be, I think, the tail of the dragon here. So I kind of want this portion in here to be fairly thick, because that's the torso, so to speak. Now you can use all these techniques and methods and everything that I'm teaching here to make a bigger dragon or a smaller one. So that's going to be the tail there. So let's see, is that going to be long enough? Yeah, it should be long enough. I might go a little bit more. And then this is the body here, and I'm rolling it down to the neck. This just makes everything a lot easier, rather than creating separate parts and trying to attach them and all that. He almost looks like a Loch Ness monster now. Now I'm going to just set it up here on the board, and let me tell you why I'm using the board. It has this surface here, but it also has this surface here, and it's a right angle. So when we set it up on the computer, it will be it'll be the same shape almost as the computer screen. Now we'll secure it with museum putty, and I'll show you how to use that when we get to that point. So we know that the border for the screen, so the screen is in here, and this is the border. So what we could do maybe is have the tail come like that, and then up. So I'm just going to set it here like that. And then I'm just going to press it into the board a little bit, just to, you know, to keep that form. And then I'm going to have the head come back like this. So that way it's not really obscuring the screen that much. I mean, it's coming out a little bit, and you can adjust it according to what you want for your dragon. So it's kind of like that. And then what we can do is we can start the face, or, you know, the face of the dragon. So what I'll do is I'll put a little hole right there, and I'll take a little bit of clay for an eyeball. That's for the eye socket. And just to give you an idea, your dragon will look a lot more friendly if his eyeball is closer to the end of his nose. If it's further away, it'll look meaner, but you still could have a friendly dragon that way. It just depends on how he's going to turn out. And a lot of that's on experience. So I put a little ball there for his eye. And I'm looking for a tool that I can use to use it for his pupil, the pupil of his eye. So I'm going to maybe try this, or actually I could try this knife. If I just put a line like that, it'll be almost like the eye of a serpent or a dragon. And then what I can do, so let me just pull it up close so you can see that. Okay, now I'm going to take a really long skinny noodle. Doesn't have to be really long, maybe a 1/4 inch long. And this is going to be his eyebrow. And then I'm just kind of blending it into the top of his head. And then I can take this tool here and I can lift it up to make him, you can adjust expression with his eyelid, only as just his eyelid alone. If you push it up and make it rounder at the top, it's more likely to look a little bit more friendly. He looks a little bit more friendly like that. I can take a paintbrush like this and this end here and just make a little indentation there for his nostril like that. Let me pull this up so you can see it. And then, you know, just with a few little actions you can, you know, have almost the face, you know, almost done. Now I'll just take a little ball of clay like this here. And put it right there, and that'll be for his ear. And then what we can do is take a tool like this and just blend it in. So it's kind of like a little cubby ear. I call it a cubby ear. I can take this tool here and spinning it slightly, I can give the definition of the inside of the ear, just like that. Now I'd like to make a kind of like a spare head for his tail. So I'll take a little bit of clay like this. So it's like that. I'll roll it kind of on one end there, creating like a cone, a sharp cone. And then holding my thumb there like that, and my fingers on either side, I can squeeze it, giving it that shape there. And then I can take my thumbnail, which is not very long right now, I have to say, and just pinch away there so it's not as thick. And then I can put it on the end of his tail like that. And if I twist it a little bit like that, just push it, it kind of gives it kind of a neat shape like that. Now I can do scales a number of ways, but the way I usually do it is I roll little balls like this, turn it into a little noodle like that, and that's one scale. I overlap slightly the tip of his tail, and I just roll another one and put it on, and then overlapping slightly and blend it into the main part of the tail. And then we'll go all the way up his tail, and it's real easy. It's kind of fun. Dragons are fun. They're not so hard. People sometimes think that dragons are really hard, but they're not really hard. Just like anything else. And if you practice, you know, you get really good at it. I think the hardest part is just, you know, staying with the practicing, you know, just because, you know, at first, you know, it's so new to you, and your hands aren't going to work the same way as like mine would work, because I practice all the time, like every day. So of course my hands are going to be better at this than other people's. But if you did practice every day, you probably would get pretty good at it, I would think. More and more people send me pictures of things they've made, and it's pretty amazing, really. So I'm going to go right up his back, and then right down to his head. You can probably get a 2x4 at the hardware store, and if you go in and ask them, they'll probably cut you a piece or find you a piece that's, you know, instead of giving you a 6-foot long 2x4, they'd probably be able to give you a short, like, you know, like the one I have here. So 2x4s are great, and you can use them for a lot of different things. It doesn't have to just be this sort of thing. No, it's a little thick. And then where it's hard to reach, I can just blend it in with a tool. Otherwise, I try to use my fingers as much as possible because I want to get them used to working with the clay and everything. And even for me, you know, I have to practice like everyone else. So I try to practice as much as possible with my hands. And then I just ended it about there. Just blend it in and ended it about there. And then now for this, because the computer, it's going on a computer and it's just gonna sit on top. You can't really see both sides. I'm just gonna do the legs and one wing on this. That's usually how I do it when I do something like this. Now what I'm doing is I roll the little noodle of clay, and down at this end it's a little bit thinner than this end. And if I fold it like this, that makes the shape of a leg, the back leg. And also I can pinch and pull up here at the top to create the shape of the knee. And then I can just put it where I think it should go, and kind of holding on to the dragon a little bit so it doesn't go in the direction I don't want it to. I'll just blend in the leg to the body here. Try to smooth that out a little bit. It's really far better if you can do the blending with your fingers, because your fingers are soft and they don't make marks like a tool does. Now what you can do is you can take a little ball of clay like this and roll it maybe that shape right there, and put it on the end of the leg there. Blend it in, and that's the baseline for the foot. And then that kind of supports that. The purpose of that is to support the toes. So then you just roll like little shapes like that, and put them on that baseline, which is, you know, basically a foot. And that will just keep the toes fairly sturdy. So you put them on there, and then you can blend them in and all that. Now I don't have that much room for my fingers, so I'm going to use my my tool to blend in the toes there. And I can, you know, I also can carve the toes in a little bit also like that. And then we'll make another foot But this time, because, I mean, sometimes you just have to customize what you're doing because, you know, it just depends on the situation. But because his head is right there, it might be kind of hard to get in there. This leg is shaped a little bit differently, so I'm going to just roll this noodle shape I've got and then bend it slightly like that. And then I'm going to put a foot on that, roll a ball, okay, now I'm taking little noodles of clay like this, and that will be for the toes, and I'm doing this first before I put it on because the head is basically in the way. And then just a third toe there. And then just sort of blend that in there. Sit on the side of the 2x4, hold his body so he stays where he stays put, and then just sort of press his leg into there and into the 2x4. Now another thing that you can do to like give definition of the toenails is you can take like the back of a this is a paintbrush, and you can just put in like little indentations just to kind of give the hint that he has toenails. It works pretty good. Like that. And then we'll put a wing on him. So I'm not going to make a really big wing. Just kind of something cool though. Definitely got to do a cool wing. So I always, you know, like to knead and again condition as I go. It's really important. It also makes it very easy to work with the clay if it's nice and soft. Then I'm rolling it into a ball. That's again the starting point for most of the shapes that we do. Now I'm rolling a cone. If I hold my hands like that, kind of like an angle, that's how I do that. And I can control the amount of pressure that goes to the clay with my hands. Let's see how this can look on there. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do then, and I often do this when I make a dragon wing, is I take my thumb like that and press in. And that creates kind of a ridge at the top. It just kind of looks cool. It looks like, you know, more like a more defined wing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of galvanized steel wire and I'm going to put most of it up inside the wing here, like, well, about that much. And then I'm going to take some wire cutters and I'm just going to cut off a little bit because I don't need all that going up into the body. The body's not even that thick. I can slide my finger along, my thumb along the wing like that to smooth it a little bit. Just shape it. And then I'm going to put the wing right there. But before I put it in, I've already marked it there with the wire. I'm just going to score the wing where it's going to join, and then I'm going to score where it's going to go on the body. Basically just roughing it up. And then that will just make it a better bond. And then when I put the two pieces together like that, I'll support the other side with my finger just so it won't go flying. And we don't want them to go flying yet. And then I'll just press it into place there like that. And then I want to connect it to his body at some point. So I think I'll just put it there. Just sort of press it into the tail there. And then, still kind of supporting it, holding it with my thumb, I'll blend the wing into the, just below the scales here. Try to make it as neat as possible. Then I'm still supporting the dragon with my finger back here. Just don't want any accidents. There's no reason to have the dragon fall off here. And then I'm just blending it in. I'm going to kind of push the wing kind of up and back a little bit. Just make sure I'm holding on to the dragon here. I'm going to blend the wing into the body, into the tail here. And then also in the front here. Now what I'm going to do is get a little bit more wire. Put this back where it'll be safer. This is, by the way, this is galvanized steel wire, 18 gauge. I use it a lot. I buy a big old spool like this. It lasts forever almost. Maybe not quite forever, but close to it. For $7.50. I get that at the hardware store. I'm just going to cut like a little piece here for staple for that wing, the lower part. You gotta watch it when you cut this, make sure it doesn't go flying, because if you step on this stuff, it's no fun. It's like basically stepping on a small nail. So I'm going to just take this and I'm going to send it down into the tail right there. It was kind of too long, but still it did the job, but I just need to cut off some on that end there. Just cut that off and then you can heal it up with your finger. And then what you can do is just go along and smooth it out. There is down below the video, in the video description, there is a tool and supply list. There is baking instructions for your dragon, and there is also videos on how to smooth polymer clay. Highly recommend that you try that and smooth it out, get your dragon nice and smooth. And then we can put a finish on it. Okay, we're going to put a finish on our dragon, and you know I do all kinds of different colors on dragons. I've done a lot of dragons in purple. I think it's beautiful. And I've done them in green, and I've done them in blue, and I'm going to do this one in blue, I think, because it's just really a pretty color. And what we're using here is Pigments. And this color here is called Duo Red Blue. I'll put that in the video description, in the tool and supply list, so you'll know what to use. This blue is what they call pearlescent, and what that means is basically, as far as I know, it means that when the sun hits it, it can look different colors. It may not specifically look blue. It might look pink or purple or whatever. Now what you want to do is, when you use this material, the best thing I have found is by taking your brush, dipping it in slightly, not submerging it necessarily, but in slightly, and then move it that way to your lid. And then dip your brush into that and dab it on a table or a paper towel or something like that, and just to get the excess off. And then paint it on. It's a powder, you know, but it's still considered painting as far as I know. And when it first goes on, it looks kind of blue, but if you were like looking at it in different light, you would see it. You can see other colors in it. It's really pretty. And then we'll highlight this with the antique bronze. And the antique bronze is a finish color that I use a lot. So much so that I actually just leave it out in this lid over here all the time. I really like how his tail turned out. Boy, it's really cool. Just trying to get the sides and everything. I'm just to make sure I'm supporting him. I'm going to get a little bit more of my brush and put it into the lid here, because you need a little bit more on there. the back of the body here. If you so choose to do the wing on both sides, you know, go ahead. But you know, this one isn't really going to be seen on the other side too much. There we are. Now what I do is I take the bronze, and the way I do the bronze, I actually do it with my finger for the most part. Dip my finger into the bronze like that, and then I use my thumb to kind of swirl it like that, and it just subdues it a little bit. And then I just run it along the top of the scales. The whole idea here for me is to be highlighting it. I'll do the top of his ear, his eyelid, tip of his nose, do his scales, his fingers, do the top of his wing. And then I'll get his other scales back here. And then we'll go ahead and bake it. And again, the baking instructions are in the video description. Take a look there for the baking instructions. A couple things, you can bake this on a piece of wood, and you can just basically take your piece of wood and just prop it up with a rock or something like that, just so that it doesn't fall off. And then you can bake it, and then when we come back, I'll show you how to put it on your computer with the museum putty. Okay, we're back with our dragon, and he turned out really nice, and he's just ready to put it up on the computer. And we'll go over the museum wax here. It of course comes with instructions, but I'm just going to show you so you can see. It comes with a little thing here for scooping. So it is wax, but it's like putty, and all you do is just scoop out like a little ball, and then you kind of knead it to make it soft, and you just make like several little balls. Another piece here, and it comes. This is museum wax brand, and there's all different kinds. This is fine, you know, whatever. They're not really that expensive, and this is what they're made for. They're made for, you know, putting sculpture and keeping it there. So you make a few balls like that, and then you can put them on the bottom. You can put them on the bottom, but you can also put them on the outside of the sculpture, around the sculpture, to secure it. So I'll just put a few on the bottom here, like that. Okay, and then you can just take it and decide where you want it, and then just press it onto the onto the top like that. And that will keep it good and tight like that. And so that is how you make a computer dragon. And if you like this kind of content, please subscribe to my channel. I do a lot of videos along these lines, and please let me know what you think of the video. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Feel free to leave a comment. Keep in mind also that I do make things for people if you like something made just for you, and please visit my art shop. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.